Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So in this video today, we're going to be pretty much going over Tradingview and how to actually use Tradingview. So MetaTrader is the program that we use to actually input our trades and put the trades into the actual market. Tradingview is more or less just a simple platform where we can actually look at the currency pairs, stocks, the crypto market, pretty much any market where we can actually see the candlestick chart. So all you simply want to do is head over to tradingview.com, make an account, and I highly recommend you actually get an account with them, by meaning pay the monthly subscription so you can get access to the features and whatnot. So this is going to be an intro to Tradingview. So first things first, as you can see, the very first thing it says here is search markets. This is where we're going to be entering these symbols. So if you trade Forex and only Forex, and you can just click on Forex and look at all of the Forex pairs here. If you trade CFDs, and here you'll find the Dow Jones Index, US 30, the S&P 500. So those are CFDs. You can also see cryptos here. But I'm just going to go into Forex, and you can see all of the Forex pairs here, really. But what I typically do, no, did not mean to go there, right? So what I typically do is I simply type out the symbol that I'm going to be pairing. So let's just say I'm going to trade GBP JPY. I can either just press launch chart or type up here GBP JPY. Really, it's all up to you. Now, typically, I recommend, as you guys can see here, the different brokers that offer different prices. I'm going to be using Oanda. That's the one I use the most. So as you guys can see, this is my Oanda chart. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to use another chart. So this is our Tradingview. This is the platform I'm going to teach you guys. This is where we typically just analyze the market, and then we input our trades over on MetaTrader. So this is where we're going to be pretty much performing our day-to-day technical analysis. It's very similar to MetaTrader, except I feel it's a little bit cleaner. So now what we're going to be doing is going over and just kind of right-clicking the chart, going to settings, and I want you guys to just copy my settings here, so you can pause the video if you'd like. So this is going to be the settings for our candlesticks. So the body is going to be blue, and the rest is going to be black, every other color here. Then you could kind of copy that. You can copy this as well. You can copy these. Then here is the appearance. Obviously, you guys can kind of play around with your charts and everything else to your preference, or you could guys just kind of use mine to make things a little more simpler. Anyways, so over here we're going to have on the right hand of the screen, I don't know if you could see that well. I'm gonna try and modify this camera over here. Just put it here for now. So over here, we're gonna have our watch list. So this is the pairs that we're gonna enter. This is where we're gonna have our main charts. Pretty much is where we're gonna have everything, right? So this is where we have our main pairs that we're gonna be trading. So we can just kind of click through each and every pair as simple as possible. And then over here, we're gonna just have some other things. Over here, we're just gonna have alerts, and just get yourself familiar with the actual program itself. But I'm gonna go back to the other chart I was on, right? So first thing you're gonna notice over here is this is where your time frames are gonna be, right? The top left hand side of the screen. This is where your time frames are gonna be. So as you can see, 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame, the hour time frame, the 4-hour, the daily, and the weekly. You can even click here to see other time frames. But what I want you guys to do is press the little star next to the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the hour, 30, the 15, and the 5. These are going to be the time frames that we use the most. Over here, you can actually flip through the different charts if you would like. I don't really recommend you trading the Renko charts. We're going to focus on the actual candlestick charts just because they're the ones that give us the most information in terms of data. We're going to be using the candlestick charts. Then over here, you can compare it to another pair, but I really wouldn't recommend that. I'm not even familiar with this button myself because it's unnecessary. And then over here, we have where we could do the indicators. So we could select indicators. We simply go search here. You're going to type SMA. You can pick any of the simple moving averages. You could just type moving average, and you could find any of the moving averages. that are there, but we'll get into that later on throughout the section of the courses. But just going back here really quick, this is where you kind of just find your indicators. You just type the indicator there and it'll come up, right? And then over here to the left is our drawing tools. So we're actually going to have a toolbar, which is right here, as you guys can see, so we can have quick access to our tools, which I normally leave somewhere at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, right? And what I want you guys to do is put a star next to the trend line. You don't have to do the arrow, but trend line, horizontal ray, you just can select the stars on them. Now, they're literally as simple as possible. So the trend line, we're going to use to be drawing random lines, such as this, for more minor areas of support and resistance. You can come over here, click on the arrow. So you can just mark stuff off when you're doing your homework in terms of your pre-market analysis or post-market analysis. Horizontal line, again, is for support and resistance. Horizontal ray is for the same thing, right? And then over here, all you're simply going to mark off is Fibonacci retracement. This is going to be a tool that we're going to be using later. But now that we're here, just kind of, you can copy the settings here, style. So this is a style, you can copy the settings. It's going to be 0, right? There you go. Then over here, what I want you guys to highlight or add to your favorites is going to be the eclipse, the rectangle, and then the brush. So what we're going to be using the eclipse for is to just mark off your highs and your lows in the market. So the eclipse is going to be, okay, this is our previous low right here. This is our previous high. So this low right here could be our new higher low point. So you always know what your main structure points are. Then over here, we have our rectangle, which we're going to be using to draw our levels of supply and demand. Then over here, brush is just to kind of mark off certain things. But really, it's more, I use that for more teaching purposes. Then over here, I want you to highlight your text, and then you don't have to add these to your favorites. Mainly just these, your text, so then you can add notes. So you can later, take a screenshot of the chart for your post-market analysis. Then over here, what I want you guys to highlight is the short and long position. This is going to be, so once we enter a trade on our MetaTrader 4, we can copy the trade here on Tradingview. So we could see where our stop loss position is going to be and where our take profit position is going to be. And again, you guys can copy my colors if you'd like. I try to keep the colors very dull, so just so it doesn't cause as much of an emotional response as possible. So you guys can copy the colors there. But pretty much when it comes down to the long and short position, you can move everything around here, right? So theoretically, we look at the bottom of this gray box, that's where our stop loss is going to be. And we look at the top of this blue box, that's where our take profit is, which we can always adjust. Now, right here, as you can see, this is going to be our risk to reward counter, meaning that what we're risking is going to be right here, and then this is going to be the total reward. So right now, the risk to reward ratio is a 4.43. So that means on this trade, what our stop loss is, the take profit is 4.43 times the size of our stop loss. So on my stop loss, if I have a $100 risk at a 4.43, that means I'm looking to gain. If price comes all the way up here, my target that I'm targeting is going to be a gain of $443, right? So that's basic risk to reward ratio, which you'll learn later on, but I just kind of want, I'm going over the tools and everything else. So top, as you could see, the top of this box all the way up here, as you can see, it counts a certain price. So if you look to the price over here on the right side of the screen, right, you'll see that there's a blue box at 158.117. This is where this kind of box ends here. So if I wanted to end at 158.018, this is where the top of the box ends. Typically, that's where our target's going to be. If we look at the bottom right, where you see this is black here, 153.102, this is the bottom of our stop loss. So if I move this down here, this is going to be 152.227. And that's going to be the long position. Long means buy. Short means sell. So whenever we take a sell, let's say we were to take a sell up here, we put our stop loss there and our take profit is down here. It's the same thing, just opposite, right? Then over here, we have a pip counter. So what we could do is click on this ruler and we click and click to wherever we're looking for. Let's say I want to measure a specific move. Let's just say I'm curious to see how many pips this bullish move was from the very low to the very high. We could see that this move was 900, meaning that it was 900 pips, and GJ increased 6%. Now this is on the daily time frame, meaning that each one of these candlesticks represents a single day of market movement. So if I press the 4-hour, each one of these candlesticks represents 4 hours of market movement. It's literally as simple as that. And you could see a countdown for when that candlestick is going to end. Then we have the hour time frame, meaning every candlestick represents an hour of movement, which you could see it is currently 3:02 a.m. London session, and this candlestick is going to close in 57 minutes and 13 or 12 seconds, right? It's literally as simple as that. It's very self-explanatory. Now, that is pretty much going to summarize the entire TradingView breakdown. Really, you just kind of have to get familiar with the platform. One thing that's cool about TradingView is that we could press this arrow and go back in time in theory and see how the market was then and there. This is what we're going to be using to backtest. And then we should have a ruler right here where we could kind of click through to see how the market played out, and this is how you could pretend to trade and do simulated trading. It's very, very simple, right? So I just want you guys to kind of play around with TradingView and get familiar with the platform itself.